very first time at an open classroom. Wow, fabulous. Well, I want to welcome you, and I hope you enjoy this evening's class, and I hope you'll come back in the next few weeks as well. Let me give you just a preview of coming attractions over the next couple weeks. Next week, we are going to take a look at the question of markets versus rights. And joining me, I will actually be one of your lecturers as I am tonight, will be my friend Jim Sturgios. Some of you may know Jim. Jim is the director or CEO of the Pioneer Institute, the really wonderful conservative think tank in Massachusetts. 2 weeks ago, the Pioneer Institute brought Rick Perry to Massachusetts. So he and I are going to look at this whole question of markets versus rights. He's actually a brilliant, brilliant guy. I think you'll enjoy him very much. But as you know from the very beginning, I suggested that we wanted to look at this question of the role of government from many perspectives. You are going to hear two very different perspectives next week. I might add that when I taught in the past at Boston College, at UMass Boston, here at Northeastern, both my undergraduate and graduate classes, the graduate students here will know I said this at the beginning, my very first class, I've always begun in the same way since 1971, 40 years ago when I taught my first class at Boston College. It goes something like this. I have 4 things that I hope during the semester you will learn, in reverse order of importance. The least important, but not unimportant, is facts. We're going to give you some facts. We're going to give you a lot of facts tonight. More important than that is I want to teach you some theories. And the idea behind theories is to be able to take some of those facts, tear away ones that may not be as important as others, and distill from it some ideas of how you might understand those facts. I sometimes talk about it as maximizing the signal-to-noise ratio, if you know anything about audio. Add signal, take away noise. The third thing, even more important than that, is I would like you to come out with something like a Weltanschauung, a world view, some way of putting those theories together to get something that approaches a perspective on how the world works. But the very most important thing I want you to do in my class is to come out as an honest skeptic. Not a cynic, but a skeptic. And that means if you came into my class and you had a certain set of ideas about something, I want you to hear other ideas. And I want you to weigh your ideas against those. Not that I necessarily need you to change your ideas, but I want you to subject your ideas to alternative thought. So in the past I've had, students in my class who come out of the far left, and I wanted them to hear about Milton Friedman. I've had students who have come out of the far right, and I wanted them to hear about Karl Marx. So that is why we're going to do that here as well. So next week, Jim Sturgios and I are going to kind of debate the whole question of what should be a market good, and what should be a right. And the following week, I will hold forth playing 2 characters in a 2-act play called Friedman v. Galbraith, in which we're going to take a look at the theories of Milton Friedman, a very conservative economist who won the Nobel Prize, and John Kenneth Galbraith, Harvard economist who had a very different theory and should have won a Nobel Prize. Easier for me, believe it or not, to play Friedman, even though I don't completely share his economics, because we actually look a little alike. We're both short, we're both balding, at least we were before he passed away. Ken Galbraith was about 6'11" and Scottish. I don't have much, but that's what we're going to do. As I said, we have 2 wonderful speakers. I'll introduce them at the end of my comments. But what I wanted to do is to start this class out on the whole question of inequality in America. And we'll get in, I hope, in our questions and answers into what can be done about it once you see it. But I wanted to start out by just giving you some facts. And then I'm going to introduce Jack Maguire, a dear friend of mine of more than 40 years, who will have a few remarks, and he'll introduce our main speaker, Richard Wilkinson from the University of Nottingham. We've had an opportunity to spend much of this week together at Boston University and then here. So we're in for an interesting evening. Let's take a look at some numbers. Let's hope we can take a look at some numbers. Okay? Whoa, what is going on here?
Oh boy.